center field. Going back is Gonzalez. It is gone! Two-run home run by Schwarber. Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
And we're back for another episode of the Double Stretch Podcast. We are about 4 weeks late, but you know what they say, better late than never. At least we're back. Spring training is almost over. A lot of plot lines during spring training that we haven't even talked about that we'll touch upon. Weather was nice this weekend. Phillies, what do we got, like 2 weeks until the bank is open for business, and it's flying by. It really is.
Like 13 days, I believe.
13 days, and the Dodgers play Wednesday, so I guess opening days Wednesday, kind of. I don't know.
It's a weird one how they're doing that this year.
What's new, Johnny? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, I've obviously been paying attention to spring training. Sorry, guys, we haven't gotten back on here for a bit, but me and Josh were actually down in spring training after our last episode. So we did a little scouting down there. We checked out the boys. There's some things to talk about spring training we got to touch on.
Yes, there are. In Clearwater Beach, Clearwater, that whole experience, I would recommend it to anybody because I always have a good time there. Like, it doesn't even matter, like, what goes on. Like, we had clouds the whole time. It's just I always have a good time in Clearwater. So if you're a Phillies fan, you got to make that trip. You got to make that trip soon because it's awesome. It's
the ultimate Phillies experience. It's just sitting out in the grass with a beer in hand, watching the Phils. You can't beat that. It's what it's all about.
You are correct. Back to the Phils, though, because we have a couple big things that happened that I think we should touch upon before we get to bold predictions, which we promised you guys like 6 weeks ago. We have them. We both came up with some bold predictions. They're bold. You guys probably can already guess one of mine, but we'll get to that in a bit. First up, Whit Merrifield. We have not talked about Whit. Signed with the Phillies 1 year, $7 or $8 million deal, which I thought was a good deal. But it's so interesting. There's been like two sides of the Whit Merrifield deal, and I just wasn't expecting it. There's people that just hate it because they went through the Josh Harrison experience with Bryson Stott. They saw the veteran, the boring, declining veteran take at bats away from the up and coming promising player. And I guess there's a huge portion of fans that just automatically went to that. And they worried that he's going to take, whether it be Brandon Marsh, whether it be Christian Pache or Johan Rojas, one of those guys is going to lose at bats. But that's not what I thought when I kind of saw the deal. My gut reaction was, this is a guy who can play anywhere, who has terrific contact skills from the right side, which is the key there, the right side, and who's just a stable veteran presence who can steal a base like late in the game. He kind of just was exactly what we were looking for. And I know you and I talked about him, so I'd imagine you're on the same page.
Yeah, I don't see this even close to Josh Harrison. Josh Harrison was not an elite player, really, throughout his career. Whit Merrifield, you go back to 2019. I mean, yeah, it's 5 years ago now, but he had 200 hits. The guy is different. I mean, he's fully accepting the role that he's going to be a utility man. It's not like he's sticking at second base and platooning with Bryson Stott. I still believe Bryson Stott will get everyday reps. I think, will he get days off in the beginning of the year? And will they use Whit? For sure. But the only guy that should be really scared is like Johan Rojas, because that's an extra spot in the big league roster, and Johan Rojas didn't hit this spring. So,
yeah, Johan Rojas should be scared anyway because, like you said, he didn't have a good spring. It's not like a situation where we saw Bryson stop performing, and he had the runway from being very good in AAA. It felt like his position to lose, but Josh Harrison came in. And the difference between the two, I think, is Josh Harrison came here because he needed a job. Like, he took the contract because we gave it to him. Whit has come out and said that he's here to win. Like, he He's already gotten the batting title, or not the batting title, the hits title.
Yep.
He's already been an all-star. He was an all-star last year, which is crazy. He had a very good season last year, and he's 35. He's not declining like typical speed players. He still has very good contact skills, and he's here for the right reasons. So I think that as the season goes on and guys get hurt, that's a guy you want on your team. And for $7 million, sign me up.
Yeah, guys are going to get hurt. That's baseball, and whoever's against it, like just look at our bench last year. I mean, do you want the guys like Sosa and Rodolfo Castro like getting those ABs? I don't. Whit Merrifield, he's a proven veteran. That's a depth move for a World Series contending team. I'm all in.
Think about how many big spots there were in the playoffs last year where Johan Rojas came up and just did nothing. Like we needed a right-handed pinch hitter
to put the ball in play.
Put the ball in play, and we didn't have it. But that's exactly what he can do, and pinch running too. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
I'll just come out and say it.
I think there's no bad parts to that move.
A little more money now with this next guy, Zach Wheeler.
Welcome back.
They got it done. 3-year deal, which was surprising. I was expecting Wheels to extend out to, the Scherzer and the Verlanders age range. But he only wanted 3 years, which it's different. You don't see a lot of players kind of come to the conclusion that they're not going to be able to play at this level forever. And they only want to play when they're good. And Zach Wheeler, who's 34 now, is going to be 37, 38. I think he'll still be good, but he kind of can see that he's on the latter half of his career. So he took that shorter deal with the higher AAV to kind of just shore up the rest of his career and give himself a soft landing here in Philadelphia.
100%. It was actually really commendable to see, listen to his interview and stuff.
It's so refreshing to hear a player say that. Like, I don't want to extend it until I'm like 45 and be getting.
He's a regular guy.
Yeah.
He's a regular guy, and the way he viewed it, he's like, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get the money that I feel like I've earned the past couple of years and have contract security until a reasonable age because I have a family and I still want to live a life outside baseball. That was one of us, regular guy
who's making a lot more money than us.
And pitching a lot better than
$42 million a year puts him with
well earned.
Puts him with the best in baseball. He deserves it. And I'm happy we have him for 4 more years. I'm happy we kind of set the staff up to be in a position where we don't have to worry about like who's going to headline the staff. Just having those 2 guys locked up, it gives the younger guys who we're not as sure about, the Painters, the Abels, the Sanchez's, the McGarrys, it gives them kind of some flexibility to figure it out. They're not coming into a situation where we just lost Zach Wheeler and you got to step up. He's not leaving. So 4 more years of Zach Wheeler.
I'm excited for that. I really couldn't envision this rotation without him.
Yeah. That's the other big news. So far, really nothing notable in spring. No, I mean, there's a position battle, but let's get to that in a bit because that has to do with my bold prediction.
All right.
There's still free agents out there, but at this point, it's not even worth talking about. I don't know what's going on with all of them.
We don't need them.
Everybody's healthy. People are performing. No real red flags out of performance. So I think it's a good time to get into bold predictions.
Absolutely. I've had these things ready to go for a bit. I'm excited.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Alec Bohm will lead the team in home runs from the right side. Yeah, I wasn't going to go as far as say that. Yeah, I wasn't going to say Alec Bohm's going to hit more homers than Schwartz, but from the right side, he put up 20 last year. He's competing with JT, Turner, Castellanos. I think they're all going to be in the mid-20s. I think Bomer squeaks out 28 and takes it.
Wow, that's bold. I mean, especially with a Trey second year settle down. I think a lot of people think he'll have some bombs to his name. But yeah, that's a bold one to start us off.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody was kind of expecting it, and you were expecting it, but I will die on the hill that there's more pop in that bat than we've seen. I think staying at third base is going to help him get a little more comfortable. We've done a lot of moving around. If we can get him in a spot where he's really comfortable in the lineup, that would be equally as nice because we tend to move him all about the lineup, all around the lineup, depending not on like how he's hitting, but how other people are hitting. You know, if like JT is going through something or Castellanos is like over 30, we usually just pull Alec Boehm up to kind of settle it out because he's more consistent. And it's useful to have that ability, but I think if he can really get comfortable and he can kind of leverage his size a little more, I think a 5 to 10 homer gain is in the realm of possibilities. I mean, look at the past year. What was it? 4 home runs. It's not crazy, but it's more. That's 25% more home runs than last year. Yeah. Just keep going up the hill, and eventually you'll get where you need to be.
I see the reasoning behind that, and I hope that's the case. I do, and we're gonna keep tabs on all these bold predictions, and we're gonna hold ourselves accountable to our big predictions here.
Yeah, as much as that's a statement about Alec Boehm, it's also a statement about JT and Castellanos.
Decline.
Regression for Castellanos, decline for JT. I think it's going to be Turner or Boehm from the right side, and I think it's a toss up there. I think they're both 26 to 28 homers this year. But they're all similar enough that it makes for an interesting battle to watch.
Yeah, I could see them all ending up in that 20 to 25 range.
Yep. What do you got?
Number one, I got it's a Bryson Stott prediction. I got Bryson Stott winning 2 achievements this season, one being a Gold Glove and the second being the All-Star second baseman starter, and beating out Ozzie Albies and Luis Reyes.
And Ketel Marte.
And Ketel. I think Ketel's kind of mid, but
yeah, it's so I think that the Gold Glove's like borderline likely at this point. I think he's probably like he might be like the favorite at this point. Him, Nico. It's just a matter of time. It's not like if he can do it. It's just a matter of time before he does it. The All-Star nod's a little trickier because I'm just thinking there's some dudes there. I mean, you got Matt McLean, who I think is pretty good. Ketel Marte, Ozzie Albies, Luis Rise, I think he's a first baseman, actually. I don't even know where they play him now. No, he's second. Josh Bell's first.
Yep.
Yeah, this this list is kind of getting long. Where's CJ Abrams play? Does he play second?
Short.
Alexander Bogaerts is a second now.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a long list of players and a lot of big names too, which it tends to be more than just like the actual worthy person. It tends to be a popularity contest, and Braves fans are going to show up for Ozzie Albies as they should. He's very good. So it's bold. It's not impossible, but it's bold.
Yeah, the popularity contest is definitely a thing, and I think Albies would be his biggest. Albies and Ketel Marte would probably be the tough guys to beat out with that. But I do see him having I think Reyes has a year where he kind of comes down a little bit. He was kind of playing out of his mind last year. I don't think he can replicate that this year. And I think he's right up there with Ozzie Albies and Ketel Marte. I mean, I think he's a more consistent player and he's very well rounded, and I could very well see him put up the same type of numbers.
Nico Horner.
Yeah, he's a Gold Glove threat, but I don't think he's gonna.
No, okay. Yeah, it's a sneaky deep position. So
it is. It'll be interesting.
So we'll see about that one. Number 2 for me. I guess this is a good time to start talking about it. I have Christian Pache capturing the center field spot and starting in center field when the Phillies make the playoffs, starting those playoff games. We need to start kind of tempering expectations with Johan Rojas because he has not hit at all. He looks bigger, he looks stronger, but that will only do so much for your hand-eye coordination skills. And he hasn't shown anything really with the bat. So I think Pache is going to get the job from the start, as he should. I mean, he's out of options. He either plays or we lose him effectively. And Rojas hasn't been above AAA yet. So send him to AAA, let him figure out how to be a major league hitter before we put him into that spot. But I feel good about Christian Pache. He's almost like a forgotten kind of guy from last year. There was a period there where we thought we had something with Christian Pache. Remember, he had the walk-off in Miami.
Yeah.
He was he's like 90% of the defender that Rojas is, and Rojas gets all the attention there.
100%.
Yeah, he does a lot of what Rojas can do, but I think he's just a little more finished as a hitter, and that's exactly what we want out of that position. So it makes too much sense not to work that way.
Yeah, I don't find that one to be as bold as your last one because.
Well, you see, that's the thing. I wrote it down like 2 weeks ago, and it's gotten progressively less bold over the past 2 weeks, and now it's just like the truth.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I know everyone kind of views it as it's like Pache or Rojas, but we're actually in a pretty perfect situation where Rojas does have minor league options and could use the offensive time to develop. I mean, he's still so young, and I'm not negative that he can't hit, he sucks, but send him to AAA, let him work on it. I mean, he has all the other pieces in his game, and we have Pache for this year, so it's basically Johan Rojas 2.0, roll with Pache this year, and if Rojas comes up at some point, but let him figure it out hitting.
Yeah, I mean, he was bunting. He was batting 140, and he was trying to bunt to get on, and it's unsustainable. That rarely works. He's eventually going to have a breakthrough, and until he does, I think he should just be in AAA.
Yeah, and then there's also the layer to it where why would we have him as a bench back? Because we have Witt. There's no really spot for him on the bench. I think the only likely outcome is for Rojas down in AAA to start the year. But I'm on board with that prediction. I think Pache is going to probably take it and run with it. I hope.
I'm looking at my last prediction now, and I wrote this one down too a while ago. It's not even bold anymore. I'm just Vegas now, and I'm just the betting favorites for everything. What else do you have?
Did I have to define bold for you?
Yeah, I'm a little less ambitious than I used to be because I was never right about anything. So I need some confidence. I need some confidence in the next offseason. I'm just going to have Bomer breaks the home run record type stuff.
Bomer has a Barry Bonds-esque season.
Yeah, Bomer breaks the single season homer record.
All right, well, maybe I got something kind of bold here. I got Orion Kerkering will lead the Phillies in saves in 2024.
I don't think it's bold.
Hear me out before you start.
I don't even think it's bold. But
Kimbrel, someone's got to fill that Kimbrel role. Kimbrel was not our best reliever, and Thompson liked him in the 9th inning. I think we're gonna use the bullpen the same way. Alvarado in the most important situations, and I think it'll be Soto and Kerkering, depending on matchups. But I think it's a perfect job for him, and I think he's just going to run with it. And I think he's going to surpass 30 saves.
Yeah, so I didn't have a chance to look into his spring. How's he look this spring?
He got the flu, so he's they're easing him back. They say he got hit pretty hard with the flu, and he's kind of feeling a little weak right now. But we saw him pitch when we were down there. He looked good.
Yeah, saw him break a couple bats. Don't think it's super bold. I think that the Phils want that to be his job. I think he wants to be the closer.
Yeah, he fits the mold as a closer.
Alvarado's so useful in that just biggest part of the game role. He's going to Kerkering's going to compete with the two people who have closing experience, which is Soto and Dominguez.
Yep. But then
Soto still hasn't looked good. Sir Anthony's looked better than he has. But, if he comes out and he pitches well for 2-3 weeks, they're going to give him a taste of that closer spot. And at that point, he can take it and run with it. I really think that's why they didn't go out and get trade for Kenley Jansen or something like that. I think that's why they didn't. They think that he can be the closer, and they have enough good arms that they can kind of roll the dice with that, see what happens. And if not, you have Sir Anthony Dominguez or Gregory Soto who have closing experience.
Yeah, we're in a really good spot with needing a closer. We have a couple guys that would probably do a great job at it, but I think you kind of keep Soto and Dominguez for kind of lefty and righty specialists in a way, and then you kind of use him in the 9th. That just kind of feels like the Rob Thompson vibe so far from what I've learned from his philosophies.
Yeah. I was reading something for fantasy purposes, and people seem to think it's Alvarado, think it's his job, but they just might not know the team as
They
well.
don't know Topper.
Yeah, they don't know. Like, they don't watch the dynamics of this team and see how Topper manages a bullpen, because it's definitely not going to be one person's job at the very least. We know that much.
No. Yeah, because if you look at like last year, it was like Kimbrel at 23 and then Alvarado at 10. And I feel like it could be very similar to that, just flip Kerkering and then and then probably like Soto kind of fill that Alvarado role in a way.
Yeah, I forgot about Jeff Hoffman too. He's down there in the late innings. He might.
Jeff feels like such a great 8th inning guy, though.
Yeah, he just feels like the righty Alvarado of this bullpen.
100%. I hope he keeps up this year.
Can get literally any righty batter out. Like, just name him and he can carve them up.
The dude's nasty.
All right, number 3 for me. Man, I'm disappointed in myself because it's so boring. I don't even know if I want to.
Should have saved your Bomer one for last.
Yeah, Bomer was kind of a hot take. I really believe this. I think Zach Wheeler's going to win the Cy Young this year.
Hey.
I really, really, really believe that. Corbin Burns isn't in the NL anymore. And you look up and down the NL, it's Strider's going to be up there, but Strider's ERA is probably going to be a little higher than Wheeler's. I think Glasnow is going to be awesome in Los Angeles in his first year. I think he'll stay healthy and be awesome. Zach Gallen is a very good pitcher, but I don't know if he's a Cy Young winner. And you got anybody else who you think could win the Cy Young this year?
We're throwing Yamamoto in there a little bit early.
I don't know. I don't do that really. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think he'll. I mean, he could prove me wrong, but I don't think he's going to come in the first year and win an award like that. It does feel like this is a good year for Wheeler to win it. It feels like it's going to be Wheeler Strider in the top 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Snell, who just won it, it doesn't even have a team, so we don't even know where he's going to be.
On the couch.
Logan Webb's good, but like I just think on a per inning basis, Zach Wheeler is the best pitcher of that group. If Wheeler can give the team 175 innings, his stats should be plenty good enough to win the Cy Young.
He goes and adds a really good splitter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Strider added a curveball, so it's kind of like cancels out there. I think it's his year. I think he got cheated in 21 when Burns won. I think he should have won that year, but now Burns is gone, and I think it's his for the taking.
Well, if you're really feeling it and you really truly believe it, I believe it's plus 900 on BetMGM right now.
Really? So I'm guessing Strider's the favorite.
Yeah, I think Strider and
Yamamoto. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Vegas.
So early.
I know, but he does look good.
Yeah, a lot of really good pitchers are hurt right now. I mean, Sandy is hurt. The whole Marlins team's hurt. Yeah, I don't know. Senga's hurt. It's just, it's adding up to kind of position Zach near the top. So if he can finish that out, I would not be surprised one bit.
Wow. Yeah, I'm here for that. That'd be nice.
Not bold at all.
This one, my final one might shock you a little bit.
All right.
I think the 2024 Phillies will win 100 games for the first time since 2011.
I like that. That is what this segment's supposed to be about. You understood the message here. Why do you think that?
I think having this team back, just the same team, having them all come back this year, essentially, I think is going to be so different. And you get a full season of Bryce Harper. I mean, you get a full spring training for Ranger. You get nice extensions for Nola and Wheeler. They feel comfortable. I just feel like this team's going to mesh. I don't think there's that much different about this team, but I think everything's just going to mesh really well. And I just have a good feeling about it. Trey Turner's second year in town. I think he's going to settle down. I just have a good feeling. I feel like everyone's very comfortable in their roles in this team. Everyone knows their roles. Everyone believes in Topper. They believe in the front office. They believe that the front office will go out and get more people at the deadline if we need it. And yeah, I think we're going to do something we haven't done in over a decade. 22 teams have done it since we did it in 2011. There's no reason we can't. And that includes the Mets and the Braves. They both done it.
So you didn't go as far to say that 100 wins will win the division. You're not going that far?
I think it'll win the division. That's funny you asked that. I was fighting with that question. But yeah, I think it will.
Okay.
I think it's an at least title year.
That's the most bold prediction out of these 6, but everything you said's right. Full year out of Bryce Harper, full year out of Trey Turner, presumably comfortable Trey Turner. He doesn't have to learn Philadelphia. We have a seemingly healthy staff to start. No Craig Kimbrell, which in my opinion is addition by subtraction. We have a healthy bullpen at this point. Jeff Hoffman's established as a lights out setup man. Deeper bench. It's just, if there was a year where we would do it, it would be this year out of these teams, because the Braves are obviously the Braves, but after that in the NL East, it's not like the past couple of years. There's a bit of a drop off. You have the Mets and the Nationals who aren't trying to compete. You have the Marlins who I think are trying, but they lose like an ace every 3 days. Yeah. And they lost like their whole lineup this offseason. So that separation between the top and the bottom is wider this year, which is probably 4 or 5 wins right there. And you get a little lucky with health and you win a couple close games and suddenly you're at 100 wins, and it's quite the accomplishment.
I mean, you can even just look at like kind of how we started the season last year and then how we finished it. If we just get closer to that sort of win percentage and keep it around there most of the year, we were on track to make a 95 win team, like the way we were playing like the last 3 months of the year. It just we can't come out of the gate like sleepwalking like we did last year. I think this team looks ready. I mean, everyone's healthy. Knock on wood.
Yeah, hopefully knock a run of off of Aaron Nola's ERA. That's probably 3 or 4 wins. You have
maybe 10 less home runs for Nola.
Yeah, you have Christopher Sanchez established as the 5 starter right away, which we feel really good about, and we don't have Bailey Falter, who's going to go 0-8 to start the season. So, yeah, it makes sense. There's a reason they ran it back and didn't change anything. It's because they think this team's good enough to do that. They think the team's good enough to win enough games to get to the playoffs and play deep into the playoffs. It's a core that knows each other. They're comfortable playing with each other, and this is the type of team that does stuff like that. It's just a veteran group that knows how to win at this point.
Absolutely. I think that's something we kind of forget as fans, that like sometimes like to become a better team, it's not going out and getting players all the time, every time, and then having all this turnover. It's having a good group of guys set for more than 1 year. Because look at like teams like the Padres, like they try these things and like it just doesn't work.
Angels.
You can't just buy a winning team. Like you have to let the winning team kind of like
mold together.
Happen. You can't just force it. It's got to happen. So
yeah, build a culture.
We have a culture, and I remember one of our first podcast years. I remember we were talking about like the state of the organization, and I remember us just going on and on and on about how like this team has absolutely no culture, and like it sucked because like it didn't matter like who we brought in. It's just like there's a losing culture. I think that script's been entirely flipped.
Yeah, we were worried about the same thing happening year after year, where we would get to August and just none of those guys know how to win because it's not a winning culture. It's not full of guys who get you to the playoffs. And we brought in a bunch of guys, and everybody's here. This is like their home at this point. They've been here for a couple of years. They're established. It's still a lot of intangibles because baseball's just formed based off of those. Luck, health. Some close calls to go our way, but I mean, you put the best team out there, and you kind of hope for the best. And I think this team's got as good a shot as any team in baseball at accomplishing that.
Definitely, we're not worried about August collapse. Now we're just trying to get over the hump and figure out how to win a World Series.
Yeah, and that's a good note to end on if we're about to end here. But you got anything else?
No, that summed it up pretty nicely, I thought.
Wheeler opening day. You see that?
I did. I mean, it's earned.
How'd you feel about that?
I was hurting for Noel a little bit just because he was going to really break some records. But, I mean, Wheeler's our ace.
So I know that Noel is about to have his first kid, right? Did that have something to do with it? They didn't want to. Yeah,
could be.
Like he's due like, or I don't know if it's a he or she, but they're due like the first week of April. Yeah. So I wonder if that.
I mean, I looked at like the record. I looked at the records and stuff. It would have been hard for him to beat like Carlton and Robin Roberts. It would have been really hard. So,
well, what are they at? Like 13, 14?
I think Robin Roberts is at like 13. Carlton's at like 11 or 12.
Yeah. So you're talking like every year at that point.
Yeah. So this kind of ends every hope of that. But there's other records he's going to beat.
Yeah, he'll be at the top by the end of his career.
It's actually not even that cool a record if we're being real.
No, I mean wins is much cooler. Strikeouts.
Wins and strikeouts, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited for opening day still. I mean, it doesn't really matter who's pitching. You could throw you out there on opening day, and I'd be ecstatic because baseball's bad.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know. I might be excited to go out there and watch you pitch against major leaguers. That would be quality entertainment.
Actually, that would sell.
that would be quite the spectacle.
Yeah, K their asses.
Got anything else?
Nah, I'm done.
All right. As always, thank you guys for listening. We will try to be back sooner. We definitely will be back sooner than 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it's been. So don't have to worry about that. The very least, you'll probably hear from us before opening day. It's a couple weeks from now. Yeah, but as always, thank you guys for listening, and you will hear from us soon.
Thanks, guys. Go Phils.